probably the second one that you should go to, most common. How many of you have heard of a box plot? Yeah, nice. Very common. If you haven't, I'm about to show you what they look like and how to read them. So another kind of data set we could be looking at is data from coffee importing countries on coffee consumption per capita. So per capita is just a fancy way of saying, on average, how much is each person in the country consuming? And so we can see I have this nice data set here on coffee importing countries and how much they're consuming per capita in 1999. And we have a distribution here. So a lot of countries are consuming a lot of coffee per capita. So this is in kilograms, which is the raw weight of the coffee itself. And some countries are not consuming a lot. But if I were to ask you something, so this is a nice way of understanding a distribution itself, to get a sense of like the range and the frequency by the horizontal axis. But let's say I wanted to ask you a question about like an average. Like how much on average are these countries consuming per capita? What's the average coffee consumption per capita by these countries? Anyone know what that is? The answer is no. No, you do not. This doesn't show you that information. I mean, you could probably guess that it would be maybe around here or here, but it's pretty difficult to know. There's a lot of low coffee consuming countries, and then a couple that are very high coffee consuming. It's really difficult to see the exact values. And we also don't know exactly which countries are consuming which. So if I were to ask you this different kind of question, which countries drank the most coffee in this year, you actually don't even know what that value is. Someone tell me. I mean, now you know you can't answer this question, but how much is the largest coffee consuming country consuming? Well, we don't know because we put the values in bins. We know the range. We know there is a coffee consuming country that's consuming somewhere between 11 and 12 kilograms, but we don't know what that actual number is. And the reason is because we put our values in bins. I have a better way with a box plot. And it gives us a lot of other important statistical values. So we're going to talk through all the details here, but this is the same figure, but with a box plot. It's the same distribution, coffee consuming countries, coffee importing countries, and their coffee consumption per capita in 2009. And this is what the box plot gives us. In addition to a box plot, and we're going to talk through all the details here, one thing I like to do in addition to a box plot is actually see the exact values. So with a box plot, we're also going to use what's called a strip plot, which gives us the exact values, almost like a scatter plot. So box plots and strip plots, I think, are a really nice combination, which gives us underlying statistical measures, which allows us to answer questions about things like the average. But it also allows us to see exact values because we're actually plotting the exact data points on the box itself. I'm going to show you how to make these things in 2 lines of code. So if I were to ask you about coffee countries that are consuming the most coffee, you could tell me at least give an approximate number here. I don't have like great horizontal ticks here, but you could see it's like a little bit over 11 kilograms per capita. Okay, and then you could also answer questions about the averages. So we have each point representing coffee consumption on the horizontal axis. And then I've given it a little bit of vertical jitter, just so the data points don't sit directly on top of each other. This is a technical term, jitter, and it comes default with a strip plot. So I'll show you how to do that. All right. So what a box plot does for us is give us quartiles. So we have these statistical measures. And I'm going to talk you through what each one of these things represents. Probably no one in this room knows what a minimum is. No, you probably all know what a minimum is, right? It's the smallest value. And then the median is just the value. You've all taken a statistics class. You know what the median is. It's the middle point, where 50% of the data is below that value. Q1 is the first quartile, which is essentially just halfway between the minimum and the median. So it's 25% of the data is below it, and then 75% is above it. So that's Q1. Just like minimum, no one knows what maximum is. So maximum is the largest value. So we have the median and then the maximum, and then Q3 is just halfway between those two. So we have 25% of the data living above Q3, between Q3 and the maximum. So this breaks our data into 4 parts. We have the middle 50, which is given to us by the box, and then we have the lower 25 by the lower whisker, and then the upper 25 by the upper whisker. So this is how to read a box plot, at least with no outliers. And what this does for us is gives us not the box plot with the strip plot gives us not just the statistical measures, but also it gives us the exact data points. So this gives us much more information than either on their own. So I can tell you that there's actually a lot of countries that are clustered right around the median. You can see it's 4 right there. And then there's one country that has a much larger coffee consumption. Maybe 1 kilogram more than the closest one. Okay. How many of you like this kind of visualization? Hands up. How many of you don't? Why do you like it? Yes.
I feel like the pretty obvious answer would be that in one figure you get a lot of stuff like minimum, the Q1, Q3, median, and max, and also you get like an idea of the average. Yeah. And also like to take it a step further, usually outliers as well that you can see with the box plot. So I think it's pretty accurate and easy to like comprehend visually.
Yeah. The thing I like about this is it gives you information about the summary statistics, but it also gives you the data directly. And I think that's really powerful. Someone who doesn't like this, why don't you like it? Maybe because it's a little bit harder to read. There's a lot going on, so it can potentially be a little bit distracting. And you have to know something about what a box plot is doing. I think adding the strip plot makes it a little bit easier to intuit what the box plot is telling you. But even still, you have to know a little bit about a box plot to be able to interpret it. But generally, I think these are pretty good figures. Another thing it allows you to do is just make visual comparisons. So let's take maybe 10 seconds here. I want you to answer this question. Which countries consumed more than 8 kilograms per capita? Or how many countries consumed more than 8 kilograms per capita? So I'm looking for a number. 10 seconds, and then tell your neighbor. Is that an answer? What is it? 6. So you can see 6 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Who made this figure? Okay. Send a letter to the provost. Terrible slides. Day 4. All right. So we can, make, subsets of the data. It's pretty easy to make those kinds of comparisons, simply because we have the horizontal axis and then the strip plot over top of the box plot showing us the exact values. And then we can also do these kinds of things, like which country, which specific data point has the maximum. Well, this is almost too simple for me to ask you to try to answer, right? It's just you look for the largest one and then you select it. This one turns out to be Finland in 1999. Has anyone been to Finland? Nice, respect. Did you drink coffee in Finland? Okay, nope. So we can just run through a couple of quartiles here. The minimum, we just select that, which in this case is Russia, which is a little surprising. Maybe given the geopolitical context in 1999, maybe they just didn't have a lot of access to it. What about the median? Well, in this case, we just find the middle point, the one that's sitting directly over top of the median line. And here that's a little bit hard to see, but turns out it's us. Directly median in 1999, which we're about to see if we have time. We don't have time. We'll pick that. We'll pick up the next example next time. But that's about to change. And then we can find which country consumes more than exactly 25% of countries. So I want you to try to figure out where this is visually and then tell someone how to find it. Five seconds. All right, someone tell me how we find it. Hannah. So the first quartile, yeah, so Q1. So it's going to be Slovakia. We find it because exactly 25% of the data is below it, which is what the Q1 tells us. All right, Slovakia. Anyone been to Slovakia? Anyone been to the US? I've had coffee in the US. In fact, 4 hours ago. And then we can do the same thing for the 70th percentile. So this is Q3. And it turns out it's the Netherlands. You can see there's like a huge disparity between the Netherlands and what was that, Finland? Okay, so here's our 5 quartiles. And we can do this, I mean, it's a little bit hard to do it without seeing the data set, but these are things we can do. We can find actual numbers and where the quartiles land. And this is not something that's particularly easy to do in a histogram. So we have more information displayed to us in a box plot with strip plot. Okay, so nice. So box plots, just as a summary, make it easy to see the quartiles. Strip plots then on top of that give us the underlying distribution, just the raw data, which is nice to see sometimes. So for your purpose, that may be the way to go. And then from there, it makes it easy to select the subsets just visually. Any questions here? Any major disagreements? Quibbles? Quandaries? Concerns of quackery? All right. So I'm gonna get this set up for us in Excel in Python really quickly. We'll pick this up in more detail next time, but we can make really nice box plots and strip plots. I'm going to show you how to do this in Excel next time.